What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another quick video. Y'all already know, give it an HBO special. That's a help brother out special. Hit the like and subscribe button for more content. But the day has finally come. The day that we've talked about, the day that we discussed, the day that we've warned certain women that are in this industry about. Because we don't tell them not to do it. If you want to do that, you're an American, you're a woman. You have your own choices. Do whatever you want to do. But be warned that the day is going to come where OnlyFans is going to want to distance themselves from adult content, and that day is here. As of October 1st, 2021, OnlyFans says they will officially ban adult content and will continue to distance themselves from adult content. And before I give y'all my complete opinion on the subject, I want to go ahead and get right into the article, so let's do that. OnlyFans, a site where fans pay creators for their photos and videos, is planning to ban adult content. The ban will start October 1st, and as a result of requests from banking partners and companies that handle financial transactions. And that's another part of this. Like, there are certain countries where this content is not allowed. So if you're a company and you want to go to the next level, you want to be taken serious as an actual business, you're going to have to distance themselves from this. And when you look at people like Kevin Samuels, you look at what happened at the Fresh and Fit podcast, where Kevin Samuels, you had 6 successful men in the entertainment industry telling you, older successful men in the entertainment industry trying to tell 4 or 5 younger ladies that think they got it all figured out because they came up on some money, because they can show naked pictures of themselves, telling them that, hey, do what you want to do, but make sure you put money away. This was seen as an attack on them, on their personal character, and they didn't want to hear them out. Hopefully they listened to the conversation and they ended up putting some money somewhere, because it's going to be a lot of rainy nights, right? But let's continue the article. Still, nudity, if it's consistent with the company's policy, is not. Still, nudity is okay if it is consistent with the company's policy. It is not clear what that policy is, and the company did not reply to questions. OnlyFans will be sharing more information in the upcoming days. I find that really interesting, and this is my first time reading the article, so I'm new to this too. I don't know how they're going to manage to allow nudity but distance themselves from adult content. I guess there are certain situations, like even if you look at YouTube, which is definitely mainstream, it's the number 2 search engine behind Google, they still allow some nudity. There are loopholes, right? So if you look at something called nude yoga, there are women that are allowed to be butt naked on YouTube and still be monetized under the category of nude yoga. Why? Because nude yoga is seen as educational. A lot of the stuff that we talk about when we say women, you are accountable. If you are overweight, you may have a harder time in the dating or in the dating realm. If you are a single mother, you may have a harder time finding a high value man. These are all taboo subjects that could be demonetized on YouTube, but some people are allowed to be butt naked and still be monetized. So it's just really interesting how companies weigh things in terms of what is moral, what is amoral, what we will allow, what we won't allow, what's dangerous, what's okay. But I guess they see that as okay, and holding people accountable for their actions is not okay. But let's continue the article, whatever. OnlyFans has become famous as a space for celebrities to interact with people on a personal level, as well as a place for sex workers, as well as a place where sex workers can post and get paid in a relatively safe manner. It is not available as an app via the Apple and Google stores, which ban pornography. Again, if you want to get in bed with these big companies, if you ever want real financing, which it takes capital to make capital, especially in a capitalist society like America, you're going to have to distance yourself. You look at Google Play Store, you look at Apple, they don't want this stuff on the app. It's not family friendly, they don't want to be a part of it. OnlyFans has tried to distance itself from the association with porn, recently announcing an OFTV streaming app, which is available for download from the major tech platforms and features content around categories like fitness, cooking, comedy, and music. And a lot of people with that situation there, people were saying, hey, she's making money on OnlyFans, and we would go, well, we know what that means, right? Or she's a girl on OnlyFans, we'd say, well, what? And some people would try to distance themselves by saying, well, that doesn't necessarily mean she's doing sex work. She could be. You're not slanging math problems. You're not slanging math lessons on OnlyFans. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's be honest. You're not slanging math classes on OnlyFans. If you're a woman and you're successful on OnlyFans, it ain't because you got a cooking show. unless it's a nude cooking show. Then maybe you got some viewers and maybe you got some clout. But if you're a woman that's successful on OnlyFans, generally speaking, of course, with the exception of a few, right? There are always going to be exceptions to the rule. You were probably in the sex worker industry. A lot of people wanted to not say that they were sex workers, but that's exactly what it is, right? If we're completely honest. OnlyFans says it has 130 million users and 2 million creators who collectively earned $5 billion. Bloomberg was the first to report the news. Now, the fun part. I can give my own personal opinion. And my personal opinion is this. Do what you want to do. Right? Do what you want to. If you find the easy road and you think that this is the road you want to take it. See where it leads. I've covered girls that have gone down this road, and largely they are not happy with where it led. Take Lana Rhoades, a person you would consider to be very successful. She was a adult actress, right? But she was very successful. She made $11 million in the industry, but yet she still wants to distance herself from that industry. If you didn't think that anything was wrong with it, Lana Rhoades, why do you want to distance yourself from the industry now after you've amassed your money? If you didn't think there was anything wrong with it, Mia Khalifa, who another woman I covered, who tries to distance herself from the industry now, saying that she doesn't want her videos to be seen. You've acquired millions of dollars and you continue to use a name that was granted to you through that industry. Yet you go back and say it did nothing for you. And you say you want to distance yourself, but how true is that when you're still using the name that you got from that industry, right? So if you want people to take you serious, you're going to have to be consistent with your message. And it's very hard for a lot of hardworking people. And what a lot of the blowback is the societal effects of it. Because the punishment for what you're doing isn't, the punishment for the quick money isn't you go to jail. Like if I sell drugs, I'm going to jail. And that's the punishment for that crime. The punishment for doing sex work is society's going to look at you differently. Why? Because there are men that are working very hard. They're working 8-hour days, 40-hour weeks. And it's going to be very hard to respect a woman that could just go on a platform and take her clothes off and then go and whine and say, hey, why can't I find a man? They're not going to feel bad for you. It's going to be very hard for them to feel bad for you. It's going to be hard for me to feel bad for a woman that's amassed $11 million, Lana Rhoades, and then say you want to distance yourself from the industry. I don't think people are going to be able to feel bad for you. And this is something that I tell women about, but you go on and make your own decisions, of course, like you should. And another part of this that a lot of people don't want to talk about and a lot of people don't discuss is once you're in it, it's hard to get out of it. I know a man that sold drugs for a very long time. And one of the things that he, because I always ask, why didn't you get out? Why didn't you go and invest in other avenues and do this and this and that? He said the money came so easy, it manipulates you into thinking that it's going to always be there. Not only that, but when you want to get out, there are people that depend on you because you've put yourself in a position of responsibility. And that's the part that a lot of people don't see. A lot of these women, they may be doing this because, like they say, to help their families during financial struggle. We say go get a job. But if this is the route you took, now you're making $500 or $5,000, $10,000 a month. It's going to be very hard for you to go to work at McDonald's. So once you're in that industry, once you're doing that and you're making your money that way and you're making a lot of money, it's hard to get out of that. Not only that, but if you do decide to leave, you're 35 years old, you have no applicable skills, what job is going to hire you that's actually paying? Right? So it's a trap. Once you get into it, it's really hard to get out of it. Not only that, but you get all of your bodies on the internet forever. That'll never go away. So when your children are being bullied in school, that's all because you had the desire and you were being selfish in your pursuit of money and you didn't consider your children. Or you just didn't care enough. And that's going to be a repercussion that's going to manifest very soon here. So there's a lot of interesting takes on this. And Kevin Samuels on the Fresh and Fit podcast, he talked about this. They were, like I said, they were men that were insanely wealthy and not insanely wealthy, but wealthy and doing well in the entertainment industry. And what they were doing was warning them and saying, hey, if you don't put your money in certain places to multiply or in certain investments so that you can have money for a rainy day, you're going to be left out. You're going to be left out. You're going to lose if you take that business model because entertainment is not guaranteed, especially if your entertainment niche is sex work. It's not guaranteed. You have guys who make 78 or they make millions of dollars in the as football players. They're multimillionaires, but 78% of them are going broke 3 to 5 years out of the league. It's all relative. You have to have money management. It doesn't matter. There was an article a couple months ago that said I believe it was like 66 or 67% of millennials that are making over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. What are you doing with your money? And this is what we were telling women and saying, hey, be careful of this. Sure, there are going to be other avenues. Sure, they can go over to P-Hub and start a cam thingy and do whatever. It's just going to be a lot harder to advertise that now. And if we're completely honest, a lot of this came from the clout of the excitement of, hey, this is OnlyFans. Get a bag, sis. Go do it. OnlyFans. It was pop culture. It was in rap songs. Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, all these women are talking about it. It's all the rant. It's the rage. But once you have to then go onto these cam sites, you're not going to have the same audience. A lot of women are going to fall out of this. Unless you're one of the ones that were very popular, you're done. And I hope you saved money for a rainy day, because the chickens have come home to roost. And I'm not even saying this from like some resentment, angry part of me. It is just the fact of the matter. You're going to go out into the regular world. Now you have no applicable skills because you may have spent 3 or 4, or it was about a year. It wasn't that long, right? But now you have pictures of yourself on the internet that can be brought up at any time. And you've used some time to acquire some money, and I hope you put it in a certain place and then go out and be materialistic. Because if we're completely honest, in 2021, a lot of the women are materialistic. They want to go and chase the Birkin bag. What average men have to offer now is not enough anymore. It used to be enough for one man to go to work and come home and take care of his family and maybe get one car in your lifetime, and maybe be able to go on one vacation, a couple vacations, because you're just a hardworking family, and that was the American thing. Now there's this surge of gluttony where everybody thinks that they need all of the materialistic things in order to be happy. And a lot of people are going to find out the hard way that they spent a lot of their money sacrificing, or that they got sacrificing their public image. They spend a lot of that money on things that don't truly make you happy. People find fulfillment in family. And when you look at a lot of those, the successful adult film stars, they're distancing themselves from this content and from this image because it doesn't bring them fulfillment. All that $11 million that Alana Rhodes has, it hasn't brought her fulfillment. You see her crying about this stuff all the time because it doesn't make her happy. I am really interested, though, to see what this does for OnlyFans, right? Because they have branded themselves and have banked on the fact that this was based on adult content. I'm trying to play with the algorithm here, trying to be good for the YouTube algorithm. You know, you gotta play by the rules. But since they've kind of branded themselves as this, as adult content, it's hard to get out of a brand. That's why it's called a brand, right? And sometimes when you brand yourself, even as an individual, take Lizzo, for example, she's branded herself as a fat activist. Now, if she tries to go on a diet, her own audience will eat her alive because they want you to be like them. They're saying, hey, we don't care if you want to be better. You got to be like us, right? You want to go out and drink kale smoothies now? No. No. Be like us, because we put you in this position of power to the point where you can sell all these albums and this and that, and you've labeled yourself as this. You're part of us now, and if you try to leave us, we're gonna hate you and say that you're shaming us. Is what's happening with Lizzo right now. So she can't even rebrand herself, and that's what I'm saying. So it's really hard to move out of your brand niche. And I want to see how they do that. And I think that it'll be really interesting to see if they have to resort back to going to adult content because they're not taken seriously anymore because they've garnished their brand. But we'll see what happens. Till next time.